Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for tonight's evening, this Monday, July 22nd, 2024. I'm now going to call the business meeting of the Board of School Directors to order. All right, so starting with salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Kaufman. Could you do roll call?
Sure. Ms. Hall. Mr. Wright,
Here.
Ms. Richardson,
Here.
Ms. Hopkins. Mr. Tom,
Present.
Mr. Callahan. Ms. Cook Henry,
Present.
Ms. Ivory,
Present.
Ms. Boykins. I think she's gonna be doing this. And that concludes what.
Thank you, Mr. Kaufman. We do not have any announcements by the board president this evening, so I'm going to continue to a superintendent's report by Dr. B. Coates.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I will be sharing my screen and providing an update to the board as well as to those who are attending via Zoom. This evening, it will be a little different in that I will be providing some updates. However, Bob and I will be doing a tag team as we provide the board and our larger community with an update on the 24-25 budget. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with a few announcements and then we'll transition to some budget items. Just want to remind everyone that our summer feeding program is still going on. The locations are Ardmore Elementary and Park Lane Elementary. You can see that this is free meals for children and teens age 18 and under. You'll see the times listed there for breakfast as well as lunch. And we will continue to do this through July the 25th. Next, just want to remind everyone that we're still operating on a modified summer schedule from 7:30 a.m. to 4:45 p.m. through August the 2nd. And we will resume our normal operating schedule from 8 until 4 on Monday, August the 5th. Also, just some important dates as we look at what's coming up. Believe it or not, school will be starting soon. So we will have new colleague orientation on August 22nd and 23rd, followed by teacher professional development that next week. Students in grades 1 through 12 will begin school on September the 4th. And September the 5th and 6th, we will have kindergarten orientation, and that should be September the 4th, 2024, and September the 5th and 6th, 2024. I know we planned early, but we're not quite ready for 2025 yet. So that should be 2024. And then the first day of school for kindergarten students is September the 9th, 2024. You can visit our website for additional information at that link that is provided. And then we do want to ask everyone to save the date. I know some of our board members were able to attend this last year, but we will have another back to school kickoff on Wednesday, August 28th from 5:30 to 7 o'clock p.m. And this is going to be in 2024. So the flyer is correct, Wednesday, August 28th, 2024 from 5:30 until 7 o'clock p.m. We will be looking to have representatives from various organizations throughout our community who will be in place to support our families as they get ready to register their students and prepare for the opening of schools. So those that concludes my announcements. And we will now move on to the budget update. As most of you know, we received a budget, I believe it was toward the latter part of about maybe a week and a half ago. And while we were thankful to receive some additional funding, it was not the full amount of funding that the governor had recommended for our district. So when the board took action in late June to approve a budget, you did approve a balanced budget. And we basically surmised that we would increase property taxes by 3% in order to keep ourselves whole, meaning that we had a balanced budget, given that we did not know what we were going to receive from the state. So since that time, we have received some additional information, and Bob and I are just going to share some highlights of that information for you. I will share this with you, is that there are still some parts of the budget that we are still waiting for confirmation on as it relates to the actual amount of money and then the use of the money. So what you'll see on the screen right now provides for you the categories upon which the additional dollars were provided. And I tried to make that a little bit larger. And I'm going to highlight some of those columns for you. And then Bob will go through the specifics as it relates to how we are proposing to utilize these funds. So what you'll see in column C is an adequacy supplement, and it's about $3.1 million. And these dollars are primarily utilized to fill the gap. You'll know that when we were in court, there were lots of conversation about the fact that there was an adequacy deficit, meaning that we did not have the proper dollars to support the students within our district. So the budget does include $3.1 million for an adequacy supplement. And you'll note that it says RTL after 24-25, and that's ready to learn. And I will talk a little bit about that in a minute. So that 3.1 million is the adequacy supplement that's being provided for this year. Then if you look at column D, we have a 2024-2025 RTL tax equity supplement of $1.2 million. Those dollars are really primarily utilized to reduce debt, right? So those dollars are, from the state's perspective, is a way for us to hopefully avoid the need to continue to raise taxes. So that's really what the tax equity supplement is for. And with the adequacy supplement, what the state has said is that those dollars have to be utilized for a specific purpose, primarily for educational or instructional programs that are going to benefit students and student outcomes. So while in the past, some of these dollars have just been put into BEF and districts have been able to utilize the additional dollars as they see fit, these dollars are not directly structured in that format. So, excuse me, the next column that you'll see is the 24-25 RTL total amount. And then the next column shows you the increase of funding within that category. We still have not received confirmation as to whether or not we will have to complete a grant application for these dollars. Typically, ready to learn dollars are dollars that we've typically received, and we primarily utilize them to fund kindergarten teachers. And we have to submit an application through the eGrant state system. We still don't know if we have to do that or not. So all these dollars are here. We are going to have to show the state how we've utilized the dollars and what is our plan to utilize these dollars. And Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the board will also have to complete a resolution no later than January or the December timeframe on how we're planning to utilize the tax equity supplement. So that's something that we will be coming back to the board to talk to you about as well. So you will note that as I scroll over a little bit, you do see the ready to learn increase, and then you'll see the 24-25 BEF formula, and then the total 24-25 BEF dollars that we are receiving, which represents, and then column J shows you the increase in the basic education funding, and that's what BEF stands for. So those dollars can be utilized for most of our operating expenses. You'll note in column H, it says 24-25 BEF whole harmless relief. We have still not received verification on what that amount is. I believe we're looking at about $350,000, but that amount may change. So as soon as we get that information, we will be able to provide more data to the board. So tonight, it's really, our goal is to provide just an update as to where we are. Our thinking is that we should be able to come back to the board in August and give you a definitive on our spending plan, because technically the board has already approved a budget. But obviously, if we have more dollars, I want to make sure that the board is aware of how we're planning to spend the additional dollars. And so the second tab that I have tonight just basically highlights some of the ways in which the dollars can be spent, and I think I've touched on some of this. Not going to read through all of it, but most of these areas are directly related to instructional programs or programs that would benefit students. I wanted the board to have this information because I want you to understand how these dollars can be used. We also, this document also has information about the tax equity and how those dollars can be utilized as well. So I wanted to highlight those two, and now I'm going to ask Bob to walk through for you. And Bob, if you want to utilize your computer, that's fine. I'll stop sharing. You tell me how you want to.
Yes.
Okay. And so Bob will actually walk through for you the spending plan and what we're thinking about as it relates to the additional dollars.
So now that my screen is up, I made the note at the top, purple highlights are updates from the board approved budget. So all this information, the contracted increases are still the same. Here's the revenue updates. So as you can see, the BEF, we got 350 in for hold harmless as a temporary figure, and cyber charter reimbursement of 117 as a temporary figure. Those are two numbers we're still trying to get definitive numbers for, so that we can appropriately plan. And then here you can see the ready to learn tax equity and ready to learn adequacy figures as well. So in the necessary but not contracted, the items on the right that are highlighted in purple have been changed from excluded to include. So as you can see, the additional ELL teachers, additional regular education teachers, slight increase to the building operating budgets to match the formula of funding that we use. One additional SSO, the contracted security at the athletic complex, the contracted security at the schools, the activity security over time, so that we're able to have night and weekend games, facilities math plan ramp up. So this number is tied to those numbers that we're unsure of at this time. So it's kind of just a filler for now. This tax equity that is pending resolution, which is also just being put off to the side until the resolution is passed on the board on how that needs to be spent or utilized, I should say. So those have all been changed to include from exclude, and these two items been added in general.
And if you'll recall, the week before, or the week leading up to the board taking action on our budget, we outlined what things we were going to be excluding because we didn't have money, right? Now that we have, or have an idea of what money we will be getting, some of those items are now included. So just wanted to make sure that that was clear to the board. And we have communicated, I believe, with the Yaden community, because the athletic complex is now back open and can be used by residents. It was offline for maybe about 2 weeks until we found out something about the budget, but we have communicated with that community accordingly. You can keep on.
So for the department asks, all items are still as they were approved by the board budget, which are mostly excludes. For the potential cuts, the IAs, we no longer have to do an IA reduction. And we no longer have to do a teacher reduction secondary level. So currently it shows, because we're unsure of those numbers and we just have that filler amount, we're showing an unbalanced budget. But we will have it balanced by the time we ask for an approved spending plan. This is more just to highlight that the uncertainty is kind of just giving us a little bit of trouble, which is why we don't have a plan for approval at this meeting. Yes, that's it.
I just have a question going back to something that you referenced, Dr. B. Coach, with the budget and the grant aspect that you have to apply for some fundings. Is that competitive, or is that just sharing how that funding would be used?
I think it's more the latter, sharing how the funding would be used. the dollars are guaranteed. We just have to ensure that we're utilizing it for the correct purpose. And our legal counsel has informed us that the state will be wanting to know the plan for the use of the dollars and then how the dollars were actually utilized.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. It's a brief one. So I'm assuming that we are lifting the hiring freeze?
For those positions that we highlighted, yes, we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I will say, I believe all of the board members received a communication that I sent to Act 93 members. Just want to be very transparent. We are still not in a position to indicate what level of an increase, if any, those individuals will receive. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. But obviously, we will continue to work on that as the budget numbers get solidified. So I'm hopeful that when we come back to the board in August, we will be able to share some definitive information, and obviously we will inform those members as well.
Thank you.
May I say, with the fair funding law, how did this play into our budget? I mean, was that set aside as an amount or a certain amount that went in to help fund this, the budget, this statewide budget?
From my perspective, I do believe that some of the money has been incorporated into this budget, yes, but not the full amount, because if you'll recall, I believe the governor wanted us to get about 8.5 million. And we were definitely short of that.
Okay. In the adequacy supplement, you said, we have to have a specific purpose to use these funds. I mean, that would include, what would that include, like being specific?
So for example, if there were a instructional program that we felt as though would really benefit students, or if we wanted to modify curriculum, it would be things of that nature. I believe one of the areas is you could potentially reduce class sizes in certain grades. So there are various things that are listed that we could actually incorporate. So what we will be doing is looking at how we're spending those dollars in relationship to the programs that are listed there.
Thank
For the
you.
types of programs, because the state didn't give us a specific list of, these are the programs you must use. Any other questions on this item? Right. All right, so that concludes the superintendent's report for tonight. And I will turn it back over to our board vice president, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Dr. B. Coates.
You're welcome.
Okay. Ms. Boykins has joined us, and also if we could please add Ms. Hopkins to the panel. She has joined, but she apparently is not listed as a panelist. Thank you.
Yep, we'll take care of that.
Thank you. All right, so we're gonna continue. We're gonna have a motion to approve the agenda, July 22nd, 2024, business meeting of the Board of School Directors.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Can I have the approval of the minutes for the committee meeting of the whole July 15th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments, questions? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any of those against? Hearing none. Can I have a motion to approve the business meeting of June 24th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any against? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the special meeting for June 27th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any against? Okay, continuing on. Ms. Boykins, would you like to join in?
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Good evening, thank you. Would
Yes,
you like to continue?
yes, I can continue, yes.
Okay,
Sorry, thank you, Wadia.
you're welcome.
So we're at special meetings, we're past that special awards. There are no special awards. At this time, do we have any public comments for agenda items at this time? Any public comments for any agenda items?
I don't see anyone in person, but I do see a hand raised in the chat by Ms.
Okay,
Marie Louise Faber.
Hi, good evening.
hello, Ms. Faber, you have the floor.
Thank you. So I have two questions. The first one is on the budget. I don't know if that's considered an agenda item or if it was just the presentation. Should I ask that now or later?
It's not an agenda item.
It's a non-agenda item, so if you. It's a non-agenda item.
Okay, I'll hold off until the end of the meeting.
Sure.
So as far as the agenda item though, I had a question about the AI policy, which I've never read before, and that sometimes that happens when they get updated. You actually get to see them. So I had two things. One was, just looking at it, under delegation of responsibilities, the school, I don't know if that was supposed to be librarian, it says libraries, and other was crossed off. And it was just a question about how teachers get approval. It looks like it's just at the administrative level for the district, and that could be a heavy burden if a teacher wants to use an AI program. I've seen some really innovative ways that they do that in the classroom to benefit students. One example was across different reading levels they might have in one classroom, and how quickly that gets approved if this has to be done through district administration. And the second thing I wanted to bring up was maybe not necessarily a change or the changes that were made to the policy, but I had asked my high school student if she'd had ever received any training on using AI, and the answer was no. They've only played around with it amongst friends and sort of, off the classroom scene, but she had never heard of any training. So if that gets addressed, or if not necessarily a policy change, but since it's in the policy, I wanted to bring that up. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Faber. The comments related to the process, we'll definitely take that under consideration, because if I'm not mistaken, this is the second reading, so we are looking to approve this. We'll take that under consideration in terms of the process for the AI resources. As it relates to training for students, this is our first, if you will, pass at having a policy that would guide some of the actions that are taken as a district. There is a timeline for this year that does include training for staff, and there will be opportunities for students as well. But we wanted to make sure that there was a policy in place first, and then we will come back with some training and things throughout this year. This is definitely not a process that's, I would say it's more of a journey, right? So it's going to take some time, and we will be providing opportunities for people to engage with the use of AI throughout this school year.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate that, because it's definitely, I have no idea. I've never used it, so I'm very unknowledgeable, but it sounds like it's definitely something that especially our young people are coming across. So I appreciate that.
Yep,
Thank
you're more than welcome. Ms. Boykins, I do not see any other hands.
Yes, I was gonna say in the Q&A, there was a question which is not related to an agenda item, but we have discussed the Homestead Act, I believe on our website. If I'm correct, Mr. Hoffman, it can show someone with regard to how to apply for the homestead.
Yes,
Okay. I just didn't want to not answer their question.
Mr. Kaufman will answer that question within the Q&A.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I don't see any more hands up. We'll be moving right along. Communications, Mr. Kaufman, I believe there are none.
There are none.
Okay. Keep scrolling up, Mr. Kaufman. So next, we're gonna go to our committee reports. With our first committee agenda is our community relations agenda, which I will read. A1, school opening information. The administration faculty of the William Penn School District welcome all of our families to the 2023-2024 school year. School will open for students in grades 1 through 12 will be on Wednesday, September 4th. Kindergarten orientation will be held September 5th and 6th, and their first day of school will be on Monday, September 9th. Informational packets will be mailed to families in August. School hours for students are as follows. Everyone sees Penwood High School is 7:30 a.m. to 2:24 p.m. Ninth Grade Academy is 7:30 a.m. to 2:24 p.m. The middle school is 8 a.m. to 2:50 p.m. and the elementary school is 8:40 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. You can go on our website to find all back to school information.
And Ms. Boykins, I just want to clarify, the first sentence, it should read, welcome our families to the 2024-25.
Oh, thank you very much.
No
Yeah,
problem.
sorry about that.
No,
Yes.
it's no problem. I'm just going to ask that our communications department updates this accordingly so that it is corrected for the records. I'm sorry, you can keep going, Ms. Boykins. We're on A2.
Okay, A2, Children's Health Insurance Program. The Children's Health Insurance, which is known as the Insurance Program CHIP, is Pennsylvania program to provide health coverage to uninsured children and teens up to 19 years of age who are not eligible for medical assistance. There are no income limits to qualify for CHIP. For most families, CHIP is free, and others, the same benefits will be offered at low cost. You can go to the website and the phone number is provided. A3, registration for the 2024-2025 school year. Registration for new students entering the William Penn School District is an online process where parents and guardians can complete and submit their application and upload the required documents. Parents and guardians are not required to come into the office to register a child for school. So I hope everyone hears that. You're not required to come into the office. The online registration process can be completed at our website as of July 8th, 2024. There you will also see the list of required documents needed to complete your registration. The process is mobile responsive. It has an easy to use forms that can be completed on any modern phone or device, mobile device. An online registration tutorial is also available. So the process allows for email communication between the family and registration department staff. Upon completion of registration application and uploading of the required documents, parents/guardians will receive a summary of documentation that has been uploaded and confirmation that the application is complete and has been submitted. Children must be the age of 5 by September 1st, 2024 in order to be registered for kindergarten. If you have any questions, please refer to the email address, the phone number and website provided below. A4, open enrollment for the PLC. Open enrollment for the William Penn School District Learning Community for the 2024-2025 school year is open through August 8th, 2024. Information in the enrollment form can be found at the website below. This concludes my report for the community relations agenda. Are there any, no, actually, can I get a second? It's not actually anything moved. So are there any comments, questions, or concerns? It's because there's nothing to move. No, hearing none. Okay, we'll go right on to our education committee agenda read by our chair, Ms. Valerie Cook Henry.
Good evening, everyone. B1 Holcomb Behavioral Health Systems, 2024 through 2025 contract for student assistance services. And the motion is to approve the 2024, 2025 Holcomb contract as described below, pending review and approval by the district solicitor for amount not to exceed $163,000, $163,759. The Student Assistance Program for At-Risk Students is mandated by PDE, Holcomb Behavioral Health System, provides assessments, consultation, screenings, treatment, aftercare, and group therapy services through licensed student assistance program liaisons, leading our in-house teams. The cost for this service is $163,759 for 2 student assistance program liaisons, 65,210, and 1 part-time student assistant liaison, 2 days a week at $33,329, payable in 2 installments due September 2024 and January 2025, and the grant funding will be used for payment of this service. B2 expulsion waiver agreements, and the recommendation, the following reference students are recommended for expulsion subsequent placement in the personalized learning community. The expulsion timeframe for the 2024-2025 school term is detailed below. If the student has not already been successfully graduated from the school district, information detailing the reasons is on file in Student Services Office. And Madam Chair, that concludes my report. There's 2 action items that need to be voted on.
Thank you very much.
Second.
So,
Are there, sorry, can I get a second?
we got a second.
Second,
Thank you.
James.
Thank you, Mr. Tong, I didn't hear you. Thank you. Are there any comments, questions, or concerns? I guess there's none, according to MJ. All those in favor? Aye. All those against? All right, moving on to our Personnel Committee agenda, read by our chair, Ms. Wadia Ivory.
thank you, Madam President. C1 retirements, we have 2. We have Ms. Beth McGinnis and Dawn Murray. Ms. McGinnis has been with us since September 3rd, 1996, and Ms. Murray has also been with us since November 12th, 1996. We want to thank them for their many years of service in the district. Thank you for your dedication to our students and our community, and we wish you both well in your years of retirement. C2, resignations. C3, appointments, and we have many. Thank you to the Human Resources Department. But we have, looks like about 20 plus appointments. C4, changes in assignment. C5, there are no leaves of absence. We're going to skip to C7, miscellaneous appointments. And I'm going to, and that concludes my report. Madam President, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Can I get a second?
Second.
Are there any comments, questions, or concerns at this time?
Ms. Boykins, I would just like to say again, thank you to Human Resources. They've been working diligently to fill a lot of our open positions. And as you can see listed, they have obtained a lot of staff members for the school district with their innovative ways to recruit new staff. So I would just like to thank them again for their hard work.
Yes, I second that to Tracy and her team. Thank you very much too, Ms. Ivory, for mentioning that. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those against? All right, hearing or seeing none, we're gonna move next to our property committee agenda, which there is no agenda. But Mr. Tong, you have the floor if you would like to say a few words for your committee.
Thank you, Madam President. We do have lots of ongoing projects. We've completed some projects such as the Yaden Sports Complex. We also are working on Evans Elementary School and East Lansdowne. We are looking at starting the ninth grade academy renovations and the high school renovation, soon to be coming. But there is no agenda this evening, and that concludes my report. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you very much. All right. Next, we'll move on to our Budget and Finance Committee. Right now, Jen is not here. Since I'm a part of her committee, is Mr. Callahan in there?
No.
No.
Oh, okay, I just wanted to, okay, so I'll be reading that, or her Budget and Finance Committee. E1, Treasurer's Report. E2, List of Bills. E3, Resolution 2024 Trans Resolution. And that concludes my report for the Budget and Finance Committee. Are there any comments, questions, or concerns at this time?
Yeah, it's at E3, the train resolution, are we still going forward with that?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a cash flow.
Sorry, Mr. Kaufman, I'll let him answer that. I'm going on mute.
Sure. So essentially, because of the fund balance, the teachers continue to get paid through August and it gets applied to the prior year. So while we have a fund balance, we don't get any revenue for the next year until August. So we need to be able to cover the 2 months of operating.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Next, we're gonna go to our Policy Committee agenda. read by-
So moved to approve
Oh.
the report.
So we need
Sorry,
to
thank you.
do
All right, we got a second, yes. All those in favor?
Okay, Ms.
Wait,
Richards, hold on 1 second, please.
Okay,
So the motion should be for E1 and E2 and then one for E3 separately.
Okay. So Ms. Boykins, could you hear, we have to do E1 and E2 and then do E3 separately?
Yes.
yes, I heard you. Okay, so we'll do a vote for E1 and E2 first. So, all those in favor for E1 and E2?
Aye.
Aye. Is there anyone against? All right, hearing or seeing none. Now this vote is for E3. All those in favor?
We're gonna do
Roll
a
call.
roll call.
Mr. Ray,
I'll come back to the,
Ms. Richardson,
Yeah,
Ms. Hopkins,
Joy, you're on mute if you didn't hear. There
Sorry
you go.
about that. Aye.
Mr. Kong,
Yes.
Ms. Cook Henry,
Yes.
Ms. Ivory,
Yes.
Ms. Boykins,
Yes.
and Mr. Wright,
yes,
and that concludes 3 yeses and excuse me.
Okay. Are we good to go for that, Mr. Kaufman? Yes, okay. Next, we're moving to our Policy Committee agenda read by our chair, Ms. Joanna Hopkins.
Good evening, everyone. Policy, F1, second reading of policy 815.1, which is the use of generative artificial intelligence in education. It is the motion to approve the second reading and adoption of the William Penn School District Policy 815.1. William Penn School District policy has been written by the school board directors and has been reviewed by the superintendent and the solicitor Each board member has received a copy of the above named policy for review and follow-up discussion as required by district policy. The entrance of the policy into the minutes constitutes the first reading with a second reading and adoption to take place at the next public board meeting. And we will look into the language of the librarians and others. We will also look into how the teachers will get approval and look into training, and Dr. B. Coates and his staff will update us, and the next report will come out once they have established. That concludes my report for this evening, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hopkins. Can I get a second?
Second.
Are there any comments, questions, or concerns at this time? All right, hearing or seeing none, all those in favor? All those against? Okay, moving on. Currently, we don't have any solicitors report at this time. Do we have a solicitor's report at this time?
You are. Thank you.
Thank you. I thought I was correct, but I just wanted to make sure. Next, we will have reports from our Delaware County Community College liaison. Hello, Mr. Wright. It's good to see you. You have the floor.
Thank you. There'll be no report tonight. Hopefully we have one next month.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Wright. Next, we're going to go to our Delaware County Intermediate Unit at this time. Ms. Joanne Hopkins is going to report from that.
Thank you again, Madam President. I don't have anything to report as I had resigned last month.
Yes, and we are going to fill that position.
Thank you.
Board of Directors, at this time, could you let me know by August 1st, what Board of Director will be interested in the Delaware County Intermediate Unit to be a part of it? I would love to, but I don't want to volunteer myself first. So any other Board of Director beside myself that is interested, please let me know. Thank you.
Just FYI, meetings are the business meeting are the first Wednesday of the month. And then the committee meetings, there's 3 of them in one night that they can complete in 1 hour. So it's not a whole long night. And then that's on the second Wednesday of the month.
Okay, so I would say, Board of Directors, if you could let me know by this Friday, please. This Friday coming, this week. Anybody that's interested, just send me an email or a text message, whatever is best, so we could make sure we have representation in August. Thank you. With regard to our Delaware County Legislative Council, there is no report at this time. Jen is out at this time. Old business, there is no old business, right, Mr. Kaufman?
Correct.
And Mr. Kaufman, there's no new business either.
That's correct.
All right, awesome. Are there any public comments on non-agenda items at this time? If anybody in person?
No one in person, Ms. Faber, has her hand raised. I think of that Ms. Faber in.
Okay, Ms. Faber, you have the floor.
Hello again. So one, I answered myself. I'm getting used to the links on the agenda and found the new appointments. So it looks like the middle school does have a gifted support person, which I'm very happy to see. And so again, thank you to HR for getting all those positions filled. My other question though is if there's an update on the timeline for the high school building that was delayed with the budget nonsense out of Harrisburg. So I was hoping to hear, or maybe if you don't have anything tonight, if we get to hear some kind of a timeline update in the near future. Thank you.
I would say that would probably come in our August meeting. We will be able to provide more definitive information in reference to that timeline, Ms. Faber.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Faber. All right. there are no other non-agenda public comments at this time. I don't see any. Before we go to our future announcements of future meetings, I just want board of directors to know last week I spent some time talking to Mr. Kaufman about the budget to have better understanding and learn more of what we're more in detail of what we're cutting. I'm not going to go in detail right now until we find out how much money is being allocated in certain areas and line items. But I do want to throw this idea out here. There is a line item with regard to help us close our tax gap when we're not when we aren't receiving enough funds from our residents, or residents are behind, and there's a pot for that. It's about like 1.2 million or close to a little bit over 1 million. With that being said, I had talked to Mr. Kaufman. I just want to put it out there to board of directors. Once he finds out all the rules and legislation around that, and I also want to talk to you too, as Dr. B. Coates, maybe we can, the program that we talked about last year with helping out our seniors and try to have like a pot to be able to help people in need when they're behind on their taxes or something like that. Maybe that's something we may be able to utilize that for. I don't want to speak falsely. There is rules that have to go around it. Mr. Kaufman said he has to first find out the rules around how to utilize that money because they don't know how to use it. So it's a new line item. But I know within the time I've been on the board, we've always heard about seniors being in dire need of help or to try to be able to close the gap for them when they have to pay their tax bills. And I would like to know, once we find out all the rules and stipulations around that, I would like to be able to set a program up where we can help our seniors. So I wanted to put it out there to our board of directors. I would like to spearhead that project once we find out how we can utilize that money and the rules around it.
And Ms. Boykins, may I also add, if you're looking at seniors, to also look at those with disability as well.
Definitely will. So with that being said, our future meetings, announcements our future meetings, August 19th, 2024 will be our committee and meeting of the wholes at 6:30 p.m. Then we have our business meeting, which is August 26th at 6:30 p.m. And then we have, that's it. That's all we have. Sorry, I thought it was more. But yes, okay. So those are our two meetings. And with that being said, if there's no more comments, questions, or concerns, thank you everybody for supporting tonight. And this meeting is adjourned.